guys, welcome back to Teen Minds, the podcast where we talk about all the random, confusing, and sometimes deep stuff that goes on inside a teenage brain. I'm Allegra, and today's topic is one that honestly I've been thinking about a lot lately. Failure. Why are we so afraid of it? Why does it feel like messing up means we've ruined everything? Like, we all know failure is normal, right? People say, oh, it's how you learn, and everyone fails once in a while, but that doesn't really make it feel any easier. So today, I want to dig into it, not just from my own experience, but also from a psychological, ethical, and logical angle. Because this fear we all carry, it's much deeper than we think. So, just get all comfy, grab a snack or whatever, and let's unpack why failure scares us so much. So, I want to start this episode with something kind of personal. There was this period not that long ago where everything in my life just felt off, like a little darker than usual. I didn't really tell anyone because I was struggling a bit. I felt a bit stuck. I felt like I was tired all the time, unmotivated, and I was just falling behind while everyone else kept getting on with their lives. And that's when my grades started slipping. It wasn't because I didn't care or because I was lazy like people thought. I just couldn't keep up. I had so much to think about, too many things to think about, and I'd sit up at my desk for hours staring at notes, and it felt like my brain just wouldn't work. And when my grades started dropping, people started to notice. My parents got frustrated and started to ask questions a lot. My teachers too, and my friends made little comments like, oh, you used to be so good at this. And every single time I heard that, it just hurt a little more. So after a while, I started believing them. I believed that I was the problem, that I wasn't trying hard enough, that I was failing, not just in school, but in life. So, it's weird how that happens, right? Like, how quickly a few bad grades or some bad days can make you feel like you're the failure. Not that you failed at something, but you are the thing that failed. And when this mindset takes over, it's really heavy. You start thinking, oh my gosh, I'm starting to disappoint everyone. I'm not enough. I'm not the person I used to be. And looking back now, I can see that that's what I was going through. And it wasn't really about school at all. It was about me being very emotionally overwhelmed because I was going through some stuff and I just needed a space and some time to breathe. But when you're in a dark place, it's really hard to see clearly. Like, all you see are the expectations, the comparisons, and the feeling that you're letting people down. And that's when failure stops being about what you did and becomes about who you think you are. And that's where the fear really comes from. So we can analyze this from a psychologist's point of view. Many people have actually studied this for years. It's called the fear of failure or acticophobia. And it's when the idea of failing triggers real emotional distress like shame, anxiety, or panic. And it does make sense. Our brains are literally wired to avoid pain, and emotional pain activates the same parts of the brain as physical pain, as I talked about in my last episode. So when we think about failing, it's not just embarrassment. Like, our brains treats it like danger. So that's why your heart races before a big exam, or you procrastinate because you're terrified of messing up. And basically, all these little actions is just your brain trying to connect and trying to say, if I don't try, I can't fail. And then, of course, there's the whole mindset part, the whole fixed versus growth mindset thing. Like, a fixed mindset says, if I fail, it's because I'm not good enough. Meanwhile, a growth mindset says, if I fail, it means I have something to learn. Most of us want to believe we have a growth mindset, but when life hits hard, like when grades drop or people start judging you, we default back to the fixed one because failures feel personal. And honestly, part of that comes from how we're raised. If you grow up being praised only for results, good grades, trophies, winning, then anything less than success feels like rejection. You learn that failure is equals to disappointment. So when you fail, it's not just a task that goes wrong. It's a whole sense of self-worth that takes a hit. So this was the psychological part. Meanwhile, we can see it also from an ethical side. We live in a society that glorifies success, but hides the process behind it. Like, we'll celebrate the person who got 100% or who started a business at 17, but we never talk about the people who tried and failed 10 times before that. That creates a culture where failing feels morally wrong, like you've broken some kind of unspoken rule. In school, we get graded on what's right or wrong in life. We get judged by achievements, not effort. But ethically, that's messed up because it teaches us to play it safe, to avoid risks, to stay in our comfort zones. And it's all to avoid things that look like failure. So let's think about it for a second. If you never fail, you're probably not even challenging yourselves. But our world doesn't reward that. It rewards the outcome, not the courage. And that's where fear becomes unfair. Because it's not just our fear. It's something society plants it in us. So now, logically speaking, the fear of failure doesn't even make sense because failure is inevitable. It's not a glitch in life. It is life. And everyone fails. The only people who don't fail are the ones who never try anything new. So being afraid of failure is kind of like being afraid of gravity. It's always going to exist. There's in no way anyone never failed. And eventually everyone fails in life. The only people who don't fail are the ones who never try anything new, as I said earlier. So you can't avoid it. You can only learn to work with it. So when you fail, it's not proof that you're bad at something. It's literally just information. It's your brain's way of saying, okay, that didn't work. What can I do next? And so logically, failure isn't the enemy. The fear of it is, because fear makes us freeze. It makes us overthink. Trust me, I should know that. Or give up before we even start. So it's like you're scared of missing the shot like you never take. And the real failure is exactly that. Of course, we can't ignore the roles of culture and comparison in all of this. We can't ignore how social media makes this even worse. Everywhere you look, people are showing off their wins and perfect pictures, perfect lives, amazing vacations. Everything looks perfect. But nobody actually, nobody's posting their bad days, their breakdowns or failures. So you scroll and think everyone's doing great except me. And that constant comparison messes with your sense of worth. You start to feel like failure isn't just a personal thing, it's something public, something everyone can see and judge. But I don't think that's real because nobody's life is perfect. Everyone fails quietly behind the scenes. You just don't see it yet. So, from a young age, we're all told to get good grades, make our parents proud, choose the right path. Whatever that means, there's so much pressure to be something by a certain age. And when you don't live up to that, when you don't get the grade or the role, the acceptance letter, it feels like you're disappointing everyone, the entire world, really. It's not just about letting yourself down. It's about feeling like you've let everyone down. But Here's what I've realised. Society sets this impossible standard, like success is a straight line that everyone's supposed to follow, but that's not how life works. Some people peak early, some people figure it out later, some people fail 10 times before finding what they actually love. There's no one timeline. And yet we compare our behind the scenes to someone else's best moments and then wonder why we feel like absolute failures. And it's also kind of unfair how we treat people who fail publicly. We'll praise success stories like they never gave up, but in real time we also mock and judge people when they're still in the middle of a struggle. It's like we only celebrate failure after you've already succeeded. But when you're still in the process, when you're still failing, people act like it's embarrassing. And that attitude makes everyone afraid, to be honest, to say, hey, I'm struggling, or I don't have it all figured out. So we pretend. We all act confident, hide our insecurities, and post the polished versions of our life. But all that pretending just builds more fear, because we're terrified of being seen as the one who didn't make it. Honestly, I think the biggest lie we're told is that everyone else has it together. They don't. Everyone fails. Everyone doubts themselves. Everyone worries they're not enough sometimes. But the moment you realize that you're not alone in it, failure loses some of its power. It stops being this shameful secret and starts feeling more like something we all go through. So yeah, the culture we live in definitely feeds the fear, but maybe it can also change it. Like, if we start being more open about the messy parts we have in life, if we start showing the process and not just the wins, it would be so much better. Because that's what real life is. It's composed of bad parts and good parts. And that is the thing that connects us more than any perfect post ever could. So how do we deal with all of this? Like, how do we stop being so afraid of failing? One thing that has helped me is flipping the script. So when I mess something up, instead of asking, why did I fail? I ask, what is it trying to teach me? Because failure is just feedback. It's not a verdict. It doesn't mean you're not good enough. It just means you're still learning, and learning means growing. And if I hadn't gone through that darker time with my grades, I don't think I would understand myself the way I do right now. It forced me to slow down, to actually face things I was ignoring, and failure sucks. But sometimes it's the thing that does wake you up. So wrapping it all up, psychologically, our fear of failure is rooted in how our brains link the mistakes we make to danger and shame, but we can retrain that by seeing failure as feedback. Ethically, society needs to stop punishing people for failing and start celebrating effort and resilience. And logically, failure is necessary. It's how we improve. It's literally what makes us human. It's avoiding it doesn't protect us. It just keeps us from growing. And personally, failure doesn't define you. It's not proof that you're broken or behind. It's proof that you're trying and that you care. So next time you mess up, don't think I'm a failure. Think, okay, what can I do next? Because the only real failure is refusing to try again. Anyway, that's all for today's episode of Teen Mind. Thank you so much for listening and for being part of this little corner where we can just be honest about what it's like to grow up and figure stuff out. If you like this episode, share it with someone who might need to hear it, especially if they're being hard on themselves right now. And remember, failing doesn't make you weak. It makes you real. I'm Allegra, this is Teen Mind, and I'll see you next time. Bye!